Dynasty Mirror, search for Huru. And I have my brother, but my hands are ashy as hell. Why you tell me my hands were so ashy? Golly.
I ain't see it, man.
Okay. Anyways, I got my brother Collagenesis on with us, aka Colathanos. And before we get started, a couple of announcements. Tours. So we have the tours coming up, okay? Nigeria, March 20th through the 26th. If you're interested in going to Nigeria still, it's not too late. March 20th through 26th, if you still want to roll, go to dynastymirror.com, send me a message. August, we'll be back in Nigeria in August. August 13th through the 19th for the Oshun Festival. So if you are interested, go to dynastymirror.com, send me a message. Then Dynasty and Blackset collab, everybody. Dynasty and Blackset collab. So me and Juliet were collabing on a tour in Sierra Leone. That is December 4th through 12th. December 4th through 12th. So if you want to roll with us to Sierra Leone, go to dynastymirror.com or go to dynastyandblackset.com. Send me a message. Send us a message. We'll get back to you. Everyone, first of all, thank you for supporting. People who have put down deposits for the tours. Thank you so much. That means a lot. When you guys trust me with your hard-earned money, that means a lot. So thank you so much for having faith in me and investing in me in regards to your helping me assist you in building your connection to the continent. So I just want to thank you guys for that. So we're going to get started, guys, on the topic. The topic tonight is Maxine Waters, Michelle Obama to Reverend Al Sharpton. You know, black politics is dead. Okay, so what motivated me to touch on this topic? So Maxine Waters, who since President Trump's gotten elected, has spoken about nothing else, no other issues, no black issues. They've made it where getting rid of Donald Trump, which was nothing more than a sideshow and a deflection, was the end game for black people. And everybody knew that wasn't going to happen.
Right. You know, what they was counting on black people being emotional and stupid, you know,
right,
to fall for it. Because like I said, there's nothing left, you know, there's nothing left as far as like black people. And we have to remember something, right? Like I said this so many times, I hope it sinks in, right? There hasn't been a black agenda in Black America since 1988, you know, and all we had was, okay, who are black people going to vote for? We haven't had a black agenda since 1988. Maynard Jackson, Ron Brown, all these other people had things on the table, right?
Right.
That created such a backlash politically for the Democrats, right? That they basically almost lost the white working class vote forever, right? So they had to bring in Bill Clinton and Al Gore, two white Southerners, right? And what did they talk about? And Joe Biden, all these other people. What did the Democrats have to do to get the white votes back? They had to talk about what? Crime. You know what I'm saying? Welfare reform.
Right.
All these buzzwords were designed to attack the so-called progress, the ill-gotten progress of so-called black people at the expense of white people since that time period. And that's what we were going on. And black people, basically, this is how sad we are in America. We went for it because the Democrats were going to protect us from the boogeyman, which was the white Republicans, and at the time, David Duke, you know, right, the Ku Klux Klan person, you know what I'm saying? So therefore, we put these white people in power, like they're going to protect us from the white thing. Instead of saying, black people saying, you know something, let's stand our ground, right? And whatever happens, happens, you know? Here's the problem right here. This is the problem right here in black people in a nutshell. Black people want to be Americans so bad.
So bad.
You know what I'm saying?
That they'll compromise their just dignity, just throw it out the window.
They'll live a lie rather than face the truth. Okay, if you cannot be 50-50 in each party, right, and have your own political party and have your own issues and everything, and have people join your issues, right, and vote what you vote, then you're not really an American. You know? And so therefore, the last 3 years has been like, okay, let's get rid of Trump. Let's get rid of Trump. Well, what did he actually do? Racist, sexist, it's a whole thing. Racist, sexist, homophobic, demophobic, pussy grabber, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
You know? Grab him by the pussy, whatever like that. shithole says shithole, whatever like that. Okay, all right. But what specifically, as far as African American slave descendants, did he say or do or anything? I mean, he playing you at your own game. He doesn't do a speech without mentioning black enterprise zones in the inner city. Doesn't do a speech without talking about black unemployment. He's playing their game. So therefore, like at the State of the Union, when he had that one girl got up and said she's going to go to any school she wants to, right? You would think that the people who care about black people say, okay, that's good, applaud. They sat there like, and I said, well, wait a minute here. Aren't you supposed to be for black empowerment, school choice, whatever like that? Why don't you applaud? I grant you hate Donald Trump, you think he's a racist, but why don't you applaud for that little girl that was sitting up there? So it doesn't really matter about getting anything done for black people. That's not the issue. It's politics.
But Kyle, it's crazy. So Maxine Waters, who disappeared after Trump was found not guilty, she comes out and says that gang members have more dignity than Donald Trump.
Yeah,
Kyle, I would much rather be at a Trump rally than walk in the wrong neighborhood in Compton or South Central with the wrong colors on.
Yeah, right now, here in Norfolk and Portsmouth, we have a gang war going on. And not only that, it's in a gang. It's crip on crip and blood on blood. Shooting, like we have 7 murders this year, right, and like around 25 shootings in the last month here in Norfolk and Virginia Beach. Gang warfare is ripping communities apart. And it has a question that needs to be asked in Black America is this: can Black people deserve the right to live in peace and sanctuary? We must always live in danger? We'll say, what do you mean by danger? Well, the fact that, when you live in a majority Black neighborhood, the crime is so bad that devalues your property and everything because people move out, and the only way to save a Black neighborhood is by bringing white people in, to rebuild it. When white people move on your block, your property value is going to go up
instantly.
That's just the way it is. In other words, basically, we have no faith in our own selves and everything. Like to have a so-called Black neighborhood is just such an anomaly nowadays and everything, because we always associate Black neighborhoods with what? Crime, poverty, regentrification, Section 8 and all stuff like that, And so that's what they basically base our whole existence around poverty. Not just saying that stuff don't exist, but the whole entire 45 million of us is not going through that. So shouldn't Black politics be okay like we had it before? You have Black people who are interested in enterprise zones, Black businessmen. He's a voter, right? He's voting for, okay, well, we need to have, like in my area, right, the city of Virginia Beach, less than 1% of all government contracts go to one minority or women. They always put minorities and women. They don't say Black people, minority. So the Black city contract's even lower, So they had a white woman up there the other day talking about, oh, she got a government city contract on. She's a white woman. We oppress. I'm like, wait a minute, you're a white woman. What the hell do you have to do with being oppressed? And so I talked to the mayor of Virginia Beach, and he tells me, he said, look, man, he gave me his number. He said, you come up to my office sometime. He goes, I want to see. He's the one that does something in the water with Pharrell. It was successful last year. We have it going on right now in Virginia Beach. He said he wants to get more Black vendors, more state. He said, look. He's from Newark and whatnot. He says, look, this guy goes way back. He used to be a college professor in Newark, New Jersey. And he said, look, I want to see more Black people in city contracts and doing business and everything. You got a whole city out here, and we got like 25% of the population in Virginia Beach is Black. So he said he wants to see more Black people in positions of power and stuff like that. It's not just a white city. We want to see more Black people on this, that, and the other thing, And so I told him, I said, look, I'll when I get the time, I'm going to work with him on it, But the whole my point is, though, when we're trying to get something tangible, that's what the whole thing is, something tangible. We don't even basically take that as a win. We'll say, oh yeah, what is getting contracts for Black people going to do for me? Well, it's not going to do nothing for you, but it's going to do something for your community. If young Black people see people getting lucrative contracts, that's going to go a long way to inspire kids to get their education, stay out of trouble, and do the right thing. But we don't. But like I said, on the whole, we don't have those sort of things. We're not organized. The first thing you need to do before you have politics is you have to be socialized. We have to be socialized. It means basically people have their own social clubs and stuff like that. It used to be the church. That used to be the center of the Black community. I don't think that's in the case anymore because we have social media. We have to
social media.
Yeah. Socialize. We've not socialized and we're on the one accord. Like we talk about, all of us are online all day and all night, right? People talk, every thought that comes out of their mind. How come we don't have a consensus, a clear consensus nationally on what we want to engage the political system with? We don't. We don't. We just throw stuff out there. Well, we need this. We need sentencing reform. What the fuck is sentencing reform? You know, what I'm saying? I mean, tell me my hard-earned vote. That's all sentencing reform. What the hell has that got to do with me? Well, we got bros out there, blah, 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 like that. Yo, look, man, I'm like this. Okay, I grant it. Some sentences are ridiculous. 25 years for selling weed. I get that. That's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not how we're gonna build a whole political. When you go out there and put somebody in Senate. Let me tell you something. And you put somebody in Congress. You put somebody in the presidency. They got the power to alter human history.
Right.
That's powerful. They got the power every day. It's not just you may think your vote doesn't matter or it doesn't count, whatever like that, but they do. When you elect somebody, elections have consequences. When that person gets into power, right? He's going to appoint judges. He's going to appoint this person, that person. So if you just so lackadaisical and that's the only thing you come up with, sentencing reform, okay? Well,
right.
Something so simple. That's it. That's what you want. Okay, we'll give you a little sentencing reform. We'll let some people out of jail like Trump does. We'll let some people out of jail. Okay, I'll get your vote. All right. That's it. Sentencing reform. That's what you're going to guarantee. You're going to alter human history for. Because the black vote is key in this election. Sentencing reform. That's all you want to ask for. You mean to tell me you haven't looked at that Keystone pipeline out there, billions of dollars worth of contracts and everything like that? We're not organized with our own contractors, laborers, and everything like that, like the Jews and everybody else do. The Asians dominate the electronic installation fields in California. How do they do that? By lobbying. Chinese companies, not even American companies, get a lot of Californians. People don't even know that. From the whole Pacific Northwest is dominated by Asian corporations.
Mm-hmm.
How do they do that? Organizing, politics. They get something tangible out of it. And let me be more frank. Do you even see Asian people even talk about? But no, they organize and they know what they want.
Right.
They wait for the election day. Okay, this is what we want. This is what right here. This right here. This right here. We're going to build this right here. We're going to do like that. We got these companies lined up and everything. We got this legislation we want passed because that's going to bring this here right here. And so therefore, when that man gets in office or not, he might not even say anything to the Asian community. But guess what? All the stuff that they campaign for is going to be put in the law, and these people are going to benefit. That's why your Chinatowns thrive. That's why your Japantowns thrive. That's why your Korean towns thrive. They got things organized. We're not like that on that level as black people. We're not. We just basically look at a few people, chosen people, and they get up there and they basically packs out the chicken and hot sauce.
Kyle, let me ask you this: where's this all gonna? This is coming to a head. How is this all going to end? Because Maxine Waters is damn near 90 years old. John Lewis, he's sick.
He's 80 years old.
Frederica with the hat, she's 90 years old.
Yeah, if you Dynast, like I said, Black America don't really understand something, right? See, we have this thing where we have celebrity worship. We worship people, and we worship people in power and people in office and stuff like that. And they put these people above us, and we don't even bother questioning them. You know what I'm saying? What are they doing for us? What are they doing for the community? What are they doing tangible that's going to give us this, right? And it's all theatrics. It's all emotion. When Angela Rye sits down with
Maxine Waters.
No, the white lady. That's running.
Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah. And she asks her a question. Okay, is it Netflix and film and whatnot, something like that? And she's talking about, what do you like? Go to the movies or sit home with Netflix and chill, something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm saying to myself, okay, you're asking a presidential candidate. Somebody's going to basically has a power to change your life or alter your life. You're going to ask them something stupid as Netflix and chill and stuff like that. That's as far as black people. See, you got to say something. Nobody wants to take Black America seriously. Why? Because we have not taken ourselves seriously. No one takes us seriously. This is, like I said, they're slowly but surely, and it's going to be a sad time in Black America in another 10 years because they are going to replace us with the immigrant vote, right. Not just the black immigrants, the the Spanish immigrants, all right, the LGBTQ bloc, which is growing, and the Asian bloc, and the feminist bloc, and all these other people, the millennial vote. They got these demographics of people already mapped out. So the last holdout is the African American vote, and what it seems like now they're going to just crush the black vote, where we really just have to fit into one of the other categories. We have no platform, we have no voice, we have no anything, because all the black politicians do is voice for all these other groups. Every black politician is on code with the LGBTQ vote. Every black politician is on code with Team Asia, Team Latinos, and Team this and Team that. There is no real black agenda. There is no black agenda in Black America, because we bought into the notion that if you have a black agenda, you're practicing reverse racism. So
no, Colin. We is all minorities.
Yeah, we're minority.
Minorities.
We're minority. People of color.
Yeah.
People of color. The color of change.
Black and brown coalition.
The people of color, the oppressed minorities, and all this kind of nonsense and everything. People haven't realized that. Once Latinos come here and they can speak English and everything, they tend to identify with the majority. That's what it is. Same thing with Asians and all these other people. And same thing with the LGBTQ. Once they're comfortable in their nice suburbs and everything like that, they're part of the white majority. That means if you look at places like San Francisco, it's supposed to be a liberal city. They have the most racist police department in the country. Why? Because it's all about keeping you black people marginalized and oppressed. As simple as that. Nobody wants to see black people have power in America. That's just the way it is. That the only time we're relevant is every 4 years, election year, when they try to get us out there to the polls and just go out there and vote for whoever they tell us we got to vote for. That's all it is.
Hey, Colin, in the chat room, Miles Ryder says this is black people's last election, and once Democrats get in, they will flood this country with. When he says this is black people's last election, I
think so. I think
unpackage that, Colin. How?
Okay, I really think, like I said, this is the last chance, right? This is the last chance. If they basically win, and they can reverse the deportations going on, and they can basically open the borders back up and everything. And then not only that, if you look at states like New York, they're giving illegal aliens the right
driver's license.
You know what I'm saying? Right? And all this stuff like that. What they're doing, basically, black people don't realize, is they're trying to replace you. They're trying to replace you. You don't really get that. In another few years, it's going to be like, they could be saying nigga at the Democratic convention, and nothing you can do about it.
Let me show you something. Well, keep going, Kyle. Let me pull this up.
Yeah.
All right, keep going, Kyle.
I said, so in another few years, like I said, after this is about the last election. If black people, this is politically in America, I think this is the last election for Black America. That's it as a collective. But after this election, you just better choose a team. You're going to choose Team LGBTQ. You're going to choose Team DACA, Team Muslim, Team lesbian, Team all the stuff like that, like that, because there is not going to be any black African American agenda. Or you got to choose Team black immigrant, But as far as like African Americans, the black people of America, the stuff that we have entrenched in America, the issues that we have that we haven't resolved yet after all these years, that's lost. People are going to tell you just move on, because it's going to be a new day in America. America is going to be this rainbow country, and you're just going to be out. But that's what it is. Whoever said that is absolutely right. Absolutely right. We Team Black America is finished after this election.
Oh, let me show this to you, Kyle. Hold on 1 second. Let me pull this up. Everybody, make sure you hit that like button. Please hit that like button as we come to the chat room. Please hit that like button. Here we go. Chrome tab. Here we go, Kyle. Here we go.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Lord have mercy. Look, I mean, like I said, man, it's just sad, man. It's sad. That's what people think of us. You know what I'm saying? That's what they'll think of us. Now, Tom Steyer did say that he will make reparations the number one thing. He knows in a million years that they can't get any. They wouldn't able to get no reparations to the thing. You know, if you can't figure out the fact that this guy is just trying to get the black vote to get to the nomination and everything, please, folks. But sometimes, like, hey, that's what it is. You know, politics is a ship of fools. You know, and like I said, that's what they want us to do. Just be a bunch of fools, go out with stuff like that. Stuff like that. That's just the way it is. Every 3 or 4 years, black people, we don't build up any social capital in over the years. We don't build any economic front and everything. So therefore, how are you going to gauge the political system if you don't have a social cohesion? We can't even get along on social media platforms. We can't get along in organizations that we organize. We can't agree on certain things that we're going to vote around. Socialization, getting to know each other. Who are we as a people? We don't have that anymore. Now, one of the things I always said that could have been a issue is federal oversight over police shootings, and stuff like that. More federal oversight over police shootings. That's something that's a issue that everybody should have rallied around. More enforcement of the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice. That's an issue that everybody was concerned about after what happened with Trayvon Martin. I thought that would be an issue that we could all come around and say, yeah, we need more federal. If we feel like the federal, the local, state governments and everything are not doing their thing, the Justice Department can appoint a special prosecutor, right? But all that goes out the door because if you do that, right, the Yoko Yahoos in places like Florida are going to make sure that whoever the current administrator is not going to get elected, And so that was thrown out the door under Barack Obama. He said, no, we can't do that. Why? Because we're going to lose the state of Florida. And he won the state of Florida in 2012, right? But he wanted to carry the state of Florida for Hillary, So we, like I said, essentially black people are first and foremost Democrats because it was a black politicians who were silent about that too. They said we can't do that. Why? Because of it. And then also what you have is, thank you, Willa. Thank you, Willa. The politicians, right, are thinking about their own political cause. They're first and foremost Democratic. A black politician is more and more Democrat than he is for black people. And what happened is they made us more Democrat than we are black. If you go against the Democrat, whatever the Democrats say and everything, the Democrats are telling you how aren't black you are if you don't basically just toe the line with what they say. You got to go along whatever the Democratic position is. And if you don't go on the Democratic position is, then now they're black. We're so insecure in our blackness that we let these people tell us that we're no longer black and we don't go out there and toe the line with the Democrats. We're not even allowed to ask, well, what do we get out of this? No, you're black. You're supposed to vote Democrat. I said, well, where did that come from? You're black. You're supposed to vote Democrat, no matter what. Right. College, just put a D next to your name and everything.
All right, college, this is D.
Yeah, the D. College, is D. I said, look, last election, I voted third party. I voted for Baraka and Jill Stein. I voted third party last election.
Oh God, that's a wasted vote. You wasted your vote.
People are mad at me talking about you wasted a vote. You
wasted your vote.
I don't really care. And not only that, I asked a question. Now, Baraka, right? Get this. If you think I'm lying, right? Can anybody show me anywhere where you saw a ticket of Jill Stein and Baraka's face during the 2016 elections? Notice how you didn't see his face at all? No,
he was. You saw Baraka's face.
I looked all over, right? Even on social media, on Twitter, they would have Jill Stein, right? But they wouldn't show his face. They made sure they blacked him out the whole, the month leading up to the election, right? You could not find his face. You couldn't even find him on Wikipedia, I said, well, who's Jill Stein's running mate? This guy Baraka, right? I tried to look for him I knew who he was, right? But I said, why is it that his name is not popping up and when I do search engines and stuff like that? They kept his name crushed. Why? Because they want to increase the black voter turnout for Hillary.
Right.
Because black people see black, oh, I might go for him. Third party, I might just go for him. So that's what you had. They basically are telling you right now this election is going to be something else. They're going to have they might have a broker convention. You have the super delegates saying that under no circumstances, right, they're going to vote for Bernie Sanders if he wins all the delegates. Super delegates will come in, and they might give it to Bloomberg or Joe Biden, right? So you might have a situation like the '68 Democratic position where you might have riots on the floor of the convention, and stuff like that, So you might this is going to be the most trying year. And then people say, well, some people will say, I think Bernie Sanders is going to win. If you think Bernie Sanders is going to win, you got serious mental problems. You know what I'm saying?
Do you really think
let me tell
Bernie
you
doesn't have a
something.
chance? I'm sorry. Do you think Bernie can win a Democratic
If
nomination?
the bottom line is this, like I said, it's all about power, right? And this is why you don't see no black people up there on the demo. Remember, people thought, oh, the Democrats party, the people color party. Remember that? It's no. Who do you see up there mostly on Democrats? Say white men. Why? Because it's power. They're not going to hand you over any major institution in America without a fight. You got white. You've been up there, 2 billionaires, Bloomberg and Steyer. And you got all these other people, Biden and Buttigieg, whatever his name is, and all these other people.
Buttigieg.
Buttigieg. And Elizabeth Warren, all these people, all white. Why? Because it's about power. America just feel like they made a mistake with Barack Obama, and it's not going to happen again. What you might have is a broker convention, with the Democrats. I don't think the Democrats, right? Unless something really happens with the stock market keeps plunging, and Trump's poll numbers go down, whatever like that, and I don't know, something catastrophic happens, right? Well, they'll give the nomination to Bernie Sanders without a fight. But I don't think they're going to give the nomination. But what happens is, if you do take the nomination from Bernie Sanders, his supporters are going to stay home, like they did in 2016.
Right.
So if he does get the nomination and he runs against Donald Trump, it's going to be another 1972 with Nixon and McGovern. He had all these young people who were enthusiastic about McGovern, right? And he ended up losing to Nixon in a landslide. That's what you have. People overestimate the millennials and all these other people like that. When it really comes down to voting and stuff like that, and Trump has a strong base and everything, it's going to be another Nixon and McGovern. If Bernie Sanders is a nomination, McGovern is the same thing as Bernie Sanders, like a neo-socialist.
Right.
And so therefore, Nixon was like Trump, was not popular, bashing the media, clowned in popular culture and everything. And so therefore, you might have a situation where you might have another Nixon and McGovern in 2020. But whereas black people, and I was like I said, and at that time in 1972, Black America was pretty much over the electoral system. We just sort of fading in obscurity, right?
Right.
The same thing is happening again. Where you got, the issue of 1972 was a Vietnam War, and you had a recession, a Vietnam War, right?
Right.
Here, the Vietnam of today is open border policy, and the illegal alien. That's today's Vietnam,
right?
It's 72. It was abortion and Vietnam War. Today, I don't think abortion is an issue, but I think it's illegal aliens. And like I said, what you have in America is this: you have people who are here illegally, right? I always thought that if you break the law, you go to jail.
Right.
People carrying undocumented people carrying illegal Social Security numbers, right? Carrying and you know what the penalty is for carrying falsified documentations, in America?
You go to jail.
You go to jail. You get 10 years for each count. Fraud. The forged documents or unauthorized documents, right? 10 years. But if you're an illegal alien working, they sort of throw it out the thing. So in other words, laws are not being enforced. And none of that, you have judges and police helping illegal aliens escape or justice, whatever like that, when they do commit crimes and stuff like that, rather than get deported. So you have a situation where the country could be breaking up based on that. New York is basically trying to protect its undocumented, and then now Virginia, Virginia, Bloomberg has been working for years to try to get leftists in Virginia. Now Virginia is going to give licenses for undocumented workers, licensed undocumented workers. And Virginia is going to also change it so that transgenders could change their birth certificate, And people say, well, why does Bloomberg do this? Well, one thing I do agree about Bloomberg with is the gun control, Virginia is a state where all the guns that end up murdering people in New York City come from,
Mm.
And so Virginia, so he was trying to, but it failed to have gun control legislation that you could only buy one gun, whatever like that, to stave off guns entering into New York. Guns, states like Indiana supply the guns to Chicago. Illinois supplies the guns to Detroit and stuff like that. All those rural states, they lax gun laws, and when I flood into cities like Detroit, Gary, and Newark, and also here is Virginia. Here's Virginia is a state that supplies the guns to New York City. So therefore, that part right there, I agree with Bloomberg on, about gun control. Now, I don't agree with his stop and frisk policy and everything like that, but his gun control policy, I tend to agree with. I tend to agree that something has to be done about the guns on the streets, because I remember years ago we had gangs here in the area, right? But there was not shootings; there were just fights,
Right.
And over the last 20 years, it's been last 10 years, it's been shootings. People aren't fighting anymore in the streets.
Right.
They're not fighting, and you hear fights and everything like that. But that's they got into a fight. Now is shooting. Now people are getting killed. Kids as young as 12 years old are carrying guns.
Right.
And there's guns all over the streets, in the inner cities and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what's tearing the fabric of these communities apart. Is guns.
Right.
You could, if you take away the guns, things will fall pretty much back into place.
Right.
Take away the guns, and that is, there'll be poverty, there'll be crime, but so like that. But the bottom line is the type of crime where people could live their life and not be affected by it. Guns affect everybody. Guns create a war zone, and that's what's going on. So, like I said, and like I said, I don't see anybody in our community that's on the political stage talking about this. Nobody's talking about it.
No. It was all, let's get rid of Trump.
Yeah, they get rid of Trump, and like I said, I'm like, I have a friend of mine, my boy Shakim. He just basically, now he's a black nationalist and everything. Like in Charleston, South Carolina, he owns a community resource, the Mohudeen Community Resource. The Mohudeen's brother that got killed, Black Lives Matter brother that got killed in Louisiana.
Right.
They have a resource center, academy, and everything like that named after him and stuff like that. Shakim is out there. He was in Ferguson. He was in Charlotte. He's everywhere where the community is. This guy is a real community leader, but he is saying, it's time for black people to have a balance in the political arena. He said, look,
let me ask you this: is it too late for a balance?
It is, but what else can we do? Or either this or we roll over and die. Either this or we roll over. I think, it is too late for black politics and everything. I really do think it's too late. But, I either that or we just roll over and just give up and just die. Just let nature take its course, because other people are basically coming here to replace us. We got to do something. We got to do something. We have to have, so we cannot be a powerless people forever.
Right.
We can't do it. It's like people are all black. No, it's not enough. Black people have been losing for so many years. It's time for something to happen. Something has to give. If you cannot do that and everything, because what can you, when you get in front of Black America and say, how can anybody get up and give a political speech in this day and time? How can anybody, how can Barack Obama fix his mouth to say anything to us?
Right.
How can he basically get up there and talk, protect my legacy and all stuff like that? Yeah, bro. No one is in any position to tell Black America. I don't give anybody political advice, because I'm in a position to tell nobody how to vote. Right. You got to vote for who you want to vote for in your heart. Look at your personal self-interest. There is no collective black vote anymore. That ship has sailed.
Right.
That ship has sailed. The world has made it clear that nobody wants to see you anything. Nobody wants to see you with your own music. Nobody wants to see you with anything that you
Nothing.
basically that I did. Yep, Pan Am Strikes Back. What's up, brother? Thank you, brother. Yeah, nobody wants to see Black America in any sort of power that's to ourselves. That's not part of the game plan. You know, whatever we do in Black America, we have to be compromised. We have to be sharing. We have to be just basically basically neutered.
Right.
Black men in America have to be neutered. That's it. You neuter the black men. You basically get the black woman in, and what I hate is I hate when I hear black men sounding like women, sounding scared.
Right.
Ooh, we,
What we gonna
we got
do? We gotta vote. We gonna do.
we got
We
to get rid
gotta
of
vote. We gotta get
45
rid of
I can't.
Trump.
Oh, I'm so scared. I'm so scared. 44. We can't afford to have 45. Give us 4 years. Oh, it's been so terrible. I can't stand black men acting like little goddamn sissies. Jeez. That's the worst thing in the damn world is when you hear a black man, he's a scared little sissy, man. Like me, I'm going to be all right no matter who the hell gets in office, you know? My personal life, I'm going to be all right who the hell gets in office. But the things that concern me, right, it basically tells me that, that nobody cares. Maxine Waters doesn't care about the black
Of course
people in
not.
California. She don't care about this.
But
John
what's
Lewis.
crazy? It's so obvious that she doesn't care about the black community. But if you tell the black community that, they'll attack you.
Oh, Auntie Maxine.
Yeah, Auntie Maxine.
Do they understand that
Reclaim
she's a
my
businesswoman?
time. Reclaim my time.
Yeah, reclaim my time. But you can't say no. Oh, well, let me stop, Dennis. Oh, I'm sorry, folks. I cannot talk about a quang like that. No. Oh, see. Chat room. I'm sorry. Oh, what? I lost myself for a second.
Yeah.
I can't talk about a quang like that. Maxine Waters, years, decades, and did nothing. John Conyers. He's been in office. He was in office since my parents were teenagers on dating. 1964, my parents went to the 64 World's Fair in Flushing, Queens, and whatnot. This guy was elected friggin' in Congress for 6 decades almost, and whatnot. And this guy has never done anything. Look at Detroit. Detroit's a friggin' cesspool.
Right.
Elijah Cummings, right? He took over Kwame and Fume's seat, whatever, in Baltimore, right? Became the Democratic darling and everything. Baltimore is a friggin' hell on earth, right? They had a $200 million grant to build housing and everything. Only one house got built. $200 million. Where'd all the money go? Of course, the white people who basically handle the money, right? And you see that one Baltimore mayor, she went to jail. You see that?
Yeah, the former one. She was embezzling money or fraud with her nonprofit or something like that.
Yeah, nonprofit. And same thing going with Elijah Cummings' ex-wife, young ex-wife, whatever like that.
Right.
But then again, we're not allowed to talk about that because, like I said, we're not allowed to criticize other black people. So it's just what it is.
Right.
Colin, you're a traitor, man. How dare you talk about other black people like that? You cannot do that, Colin. You cannot criticize. Well, it's like this. If you're up in the public eye, right? If you're up in the public eye, you run for office and everything like that, you're going to be critiqued. As simple as that.
Right.
Well, what's the scare? The bottom line is this. Okay. Do you know what we have to do side like this as a people, right? We decide that we're going to elect people and they're not going to do shit for us, right? And all we like is seeing them up there on TV and whatnot, giving nice speeches and whatnot, and bash Donald Trump and Republicans. That's all we need to. Maybe that's it.
That's all we want. That's all we want.
That's all we want. Maybe that's all we want is black people. Maybe we're not all we want. Then what happens is we get angry, right, when we see Liberians and Nigerians come over here and master how to play the play. Because like I said, man, you sleep on Liberians, right? I watch Liberians a lot, right? And these people you think are stupid and whatnot, they're very well organized. They got different Liberian associations, Nigerian associations, Haitian associations, and everything. And they know how to get what they want out of the political system. Why? Maybe because they got a country that they come from and that's their focal point. That could be it, They're socialized on all different levels and everything, and they know who to vote for. And they meet with their congressman and say, look, we need this over here in Liberia. We need this over in Nigeria. We need this right here. Mm-hmm. We need this right here. We need student this. We need this like that, And so therefore, we see these people succeeding in America, right? Without us, right?
Right.
And even the fact that Keith Ellison is basically the Liberians are so well versed in the politics, and Keith Ellis is not even in Congress anymore, but he still works for them. You know, he got the deferred departure thing. Thing. This is called Deferred Exodus Departure (DED). That means that if you're a Liberian from a refugee from 1991 on right now, those if the conditions aren't conducive in your country, you could stay. You could stay. I'm gonna talk about the Democratic Socialist Party. I'm gonna talk about that. You know, it's like because like I said, I cannot keep bashing. I'm not a socialist, but I'm gonna talk about it. The deferred exodus departure, right? Basically, each president administration looks at the situation on the ground in the country that the refugees come from, and they make the determination if they're going to extend their stay in America or send them back. Donald Trump extended the DED with the help of Keith Ellison, right, for another 5 years for Liberians. Okay, he extended it for another 5 years. I said that's a good thing, and people say, "Well, Colin," I said, "Look, I'll be honest with you. You got Liberians in this country who are doing well, right? They're raising a kid. They have kids born here and whatnot. Liberia is not in a position to be taking some of these people back, you know." Right. And there's some Liberians on the ground. So, well, we need those people. What are you going to do when they get there? You're already telling them now that they're the new American Liberians and everything. And you got to ask for waiting for them back in Liberia, right? That you're gonna, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like this. I wouldn't send those people back. Back to they're hardworking people. They're doing the right thing in places like Rhode Island, Minnesota, and Pennsylvania, stuff like that. So let them stay and whatnot. You know, that's what I think. Black America, you know, we use our political fight for it. So therefore, say, yeah, okay. You know, even though we go back and forth with our African brothers and sisters, you know, yeah. But the bottom line is, I don't want to see any Africans deported and whatnot. You know, I mean, if I have to choose between Africans and South American people, I would choose Africans, to tell you the truth. You know, that's just me personally, and I think Black people should be on code like that. And then that would give us something to vote for. But you got a lot of Black people who are like, well, geez, well, what do we get out of this? Well, you know, look, you know, America is becoming more and more again an immigrant country. You know. It's becoming more of a global place, you know. People are coming from around the world. They're linking up around the world and stuff like that. If Black America does not want to become global players and see where they fit in within the global scheme of things and everything, right, they're not going to know how to access the political, social, and economic networks that are being created right here. We're just going to sit back and just be bitter and do nothing about our situation because we don't understand. We're living in people are going to use us, right? People are going to use us for our votes and everything. But if we don't see where we fit into the global thing, right, we have an African American investment group that's in Uganda right now. Get this, they're investing $300 billion in Uganda. You know, there's another group similar in Namibia. You know. And so, therefore, you have these African Americans investment groups. You have the year return. You have African Americans who are now going to the continent, record numbers, and basically carving out a place for themselves on a global scheme. I think that's going to, if that's going in that direction, I believe we have something political to rally around. You know, if what we do, if our Pan-African efforts become the focal point of Black America, right, long term, not instant gratification. See, what the problem with Black America is, and Black people in general is, we want everything instant. You know, right. If we can't eat tomorrow and whatnot, we don't see it like this. But everybody have a long-term plan. You know, if somebody spends 5 years in Nigeria, right, and he says, "Look, man, I can connect the dots, but we need the overseas investment corporation involved, right? OPIC, right? We need this involved. We need the State Department or to lift this sanction right here, this, that, and the other thing, right?" And Black America says, you know something, that's a good idea. You know, that could help us out in Nigeria. That could help us out over here. That could help us out in the Dominican Republic. That could help us out in Haiti, what we're trying to do. And we basically look at those sort of Black people who's doing things globally and say, look, I think that could be a political thing. We did that with South Africa. We did that a generation ago with the sanctions on South Africa. You know, all we knew, there was a white country in South Africa. We didn't know anything about it. Let's be honest with ourselves. We didn't know anything about the nuances of South Africa, right? And some Black people think, like I wrote a blog back in 2008. I said, are we having buyer's remorse when the South Africans were attacking the Mozambicans and everything? I wrote a blog way back then. That's another thing about me, folks. I have a 14-year history of writing on Pan-African stuff. I'm not just somebody just popping up on YouTube.
Right.
So I wrote a blog back then. Are we having buyer's remorse? We should have known a little about this South Africa. Why are they killing Africans and they don't lift a finger for to these white people down there? They don't touch the Chinese, they don't touch the Indians, but they only talking about African immigrants, that they're killing. So anyway, back in '86, I remember I was still in high school, and we was talking about free South Africa. Remember that? That caused such a stir, right? That the Congress, right? Ronald Reagan had a veto of sanctions on South Africa, and in 1985, the Congress overrode President Reagan's veto implementing sanctions on South Africa. That created such a geopolitical backlash against Black America, because a year later, that's when we had Howard Beach situation, we had Yusuf Hawkins, and the media started attacking Black America as a group. Why? Because they were angry at the fact that we mobilized congressmen, everything on that large scale. We didn't care about anything. We didn't care about nothing. Only thing we cared for, if you wanted our vote, right, was sanctions on South Africa. How do you put on South Africa? We were unified on that front. Right. I don't think Black America has been unified since that time period, right? And then 2 years later, saying we voted for Dukakis, Dukakis. And then white America said, we got to put the brakes on this shit. They sanctions on South Africa. These people want minorities set aside. They want all the stuff like that. Now it's time to rein these people in. And ever since 1988, our fortunes have gone down. We was once a powerful group of people in America, but now we just basically we're just beaten. We're just beaten. But I think if we turn back to Pan-African stuff and global stuff and how we feel about, what if Black America took an issue about China? What do you think about China and Taiwan? What if we have sympathy for Taiwan? We want Taiwan to have independence, right? All right. China would be like, whoa, what do you mean? That means if our local senator and everything like that, wants our vote, saying they're going to vote to recognize Taiwan independence. China will come here tomorrow, right? They will bring billions of dollars of resources and everything to try to change Black people's minds, and that's how you benefit from the political thing. You just throw it out there and say, okay, something, I think we got to change your heart. We care about this Taiwan situation. About the Hong Kong situation, uprising in Hong Kong, and whatnot. Right. What do Black people think? Are you pro Beijing? Are you pro Hong Kong? And whatnot. I am not gonna say what I am, but I'm saying, but I have my opinion on that, but I'm not gonna say. But what if Black people? We had political punditry in America, right? Which basically, when you saw us on MSNBC, and you saw we were talking about something besides Donald Trump, What if we had other interests globally that we were constantly putting out there to the media and say, this is what Black America thinks? But then we don't have that, right? Because what we were concerned about for the last year was, whether
Trump, the orange man,
or Colin Kaepernick and Jay-Z and Beyonce at the Super Bowl and all this kind of nonsense and all that they occupy our mind with, and then this last situation with Gayle King and Oprah and stuff like that. They keep Black people, and even in the age of social media, right? Right. Like I said, when I start my radio show back up again, one thing I'm not going to do is be a cheerleader, a mouthpiece for what you see in the mainstream media. Years ago, I used to talk about topics that weren't talked about in the mainstream media, right? And I said I want to build a platform based on what's not talked about in the mainstream media, not just, oh, did you hear the headline today? Right. You see some of these platforms about, oh yeah, I'm watching MSNBC this morning. This is my opinion. Nigga, I don't care about your opinion. I'm saying, just because you got a goddamn YouTube channel, I'm supposed to give a goddamn about what the hell you got to say, talk about something that no one's talking about. There's a million bigger things going on in the world right now. What are you talking about? What is it that we could talk about that that we could spread like fire, spread like fire. Like I said, this all of us talking about Africa and Pan-Africanism is basically have it so now that you got people who saying, like, remember a couple of years ago, Dynas, right? 2018, when I first got on your show. Right? Yeah. It's been 2 years now. Remember when I first got on your show? 2 years,
Colin.
2 years. 2 years coming up next month. 2 years, man. 2 years. Remember when Black Panther came out? Everybody thought this was just a phase. Remember that? Yeah. Oh, it's just a Black Panther. Remember that? Yeah. Well, 2 years later, man, and Dynas is doing tours. You got brother Phil Scott. You got Mark Blanton. You got Bomani. You got your sister with the Blexit. You got all these people doing tours. And I saw another sister. I don't know if she's African American, but she has tours to Togo. She said she got so many appointments that she can't even keep up. So you got more people doing tours. You got people investing on the continent and everything.
Right.
So people thought this was just a Wakanda phase that we were just going through. Is not happening. It's not going down. It's not going anywhere. And people are talking about this. Now what we have to do is say, okay, now how could my our political, our economic, our social interest, which is Pan-Africanism and tourism, investing in Africa, and some people living over there, whatever like that. How can we basically engage the American political system with that? Well, what is American policy in Uganda, right? Well, we know that the United States is trying to crush Tanzania over the LGBTQ stuff,
Right.
One of the ministers, the United States withdrew one of the ambassadors from Zambia. I have my friend is in Zambia tell me, yeah, man, you guys got to stop. I said, don't tell me. I ain't me. You guys got to stop forcing that shit on it. I said, I'm not forcing that either where your country is, The ambassador to Zambia of the United States said, we're going to have sanctions on Zambia because Zambia imprisoned 2 homosexuals, and homosexual. I don't know what the case was, but they did it in public. I don't know. It was more to it than just homosexuality. But he said, under no circumstances, Zambia said you got to go, and the United States took this ambassador out. Right now, in several high-profile officials in Tanzania are on the U.S. sanctions because they oppose gay marriage. Kenya is targeted, Uganda is targeted. All the stuff is targeted. So
here you go, caller. Here you go. Here you go.
Oh Lord. You see that one video with hanging out with young Jeezy, hanging out with Joe Biden, man,
There you go,
they should
caller.
at least give him some moves. The dude got no sort of moves, no sort of game, man. It's like, dag, bro. Give him some moves. They should have been able to say, yo, you got to move like this. You know what I'm saying? You got to swag a little bit. Say, you know what I'm saying? You got to have that some B-boy. Give me some B-boy and whatnot. You got to swag a little bit. This dude just all wacky. I'm like, dag, man. Jeez,
Hey, Kyle, real
man.
quick, get into you're talking about the socialism, and then we'll go ahead and close out.
All right, now let me say something, right, about
Go ahead.
socialism, right? I can't be the one, right? Like I was, if I lived in Baltimore, I'm assuming this brother's from Baltimore, right? You're a Socialist Party, right? Out of Baltimore.
I don't know.
All right, I haven't seen the Brown on Facebook. I hope they didn't unfriended with me on Facebook, but I haven't seen them in a while. All right, when you live in a city like Baltimore that's so friggin' far gone and corrupt, right?
Right.
I don't blame people for being socialists. I don't blame black people. I don't blame black people for being socialists. I do not. Because some of these places right here where the situation is so bad, it's so horrible, right? People think socialism is the way to go. Now, what people will also say is, well, look at Norway. All right, okay. First of all, you got to talk about when you talk about these Scandinavia. These are rich countries.
Right.
Scandinavians have trust and sovereign wealth that's spanning the globe. They got trillions of dollars worth of assets. They got money, and they got low population. I think Norway's population is only like 10 million people. Vast. They got money on top of money to do that. Now when you talk about socialism, as far as like in America, right? The money has to come from someplace. You still need an investment class. You still need capital. That's what Gary, Indiana found out, right?
Right.
Black people thought they were going to have this chocolate city in
Gary. It's funny you said that. There was a documentary or something back in the 70s where they I guess they elected the black mayor in Gary, Indiana.
I saw that. Yep.
And listen, white people ran for the hills.
White people ran for the hills. They took all their pension funds and all that stuff like that. And the
city say even the banks left.
The banks left. Everybody left. They said, yo, okay, you can have the city. And what happened? We had this black mayor, and they had 1970 had a Pan-African convention in Gary, Indiana. It's supposed to be a new decade, a new time. When I'm not trying to laugh at my people, like my people hurt, my people like this, but we celebrate. That's what happens when you celebrate too quick, Right. And in the preceding decade, Gary went to hell in a handbasket. White people left with their capital and everything because we didn't understand. Mm-hmm. When you build a city, stuff like that, you have to have your financial infrastructure in place. That's why we say a Black African infrastructure
Right.
organization, your financial infrastructure. All these things are important. All these things that's not sexy, it don't sound like kumbaya and everything. Yes, you need infrastructure, you need industry, you need bankers, you need all these things. You need hedge funds, you need all these things that's going to invest. You need pension funds, you need all this stuff like that. You need people to invest in capital. The person who got it right a little bit was Maynard Jackson. You know what I'm saying? He understood that. He didn't make the mistake of Gary, like and Marion Barry, right? We just
Right.
give everybody salaries and everything and don't know where the money's coming from. He basically said, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to invite companies from around the world. Foreign companies came in. Foreign companies came in, and they basically invested in Atlanta, right? They built the Hartford Jackson International Airport. Atlanta was a business air hub. Businessmen from around the world were able to come in and access a network from Atlanta, Chicago, right? Atlanta became the hub connecting the world with the heart of America. People used to think it was New York. No, Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? From Atlanta, you could launch off to Houston. You could launch off to Detroit, Indiana, Chicago, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Atlanta's right there.
Right.
And you have the whole entire Atlantic seaboard, and Florida. And so therefore, it was a strategic location to build a large airport, and companies from around the world found that they could build things in Atlanta. And Black America, the Black middle class and the Black upper class and everything, the working class benefited. But as with all things and everything, but if it's not, but it was finite, right? We never, as Black people, never have anything infinite. And I think the only way we can have anything infinite is by building this infrastructure between Black America and Africa. That's going to give us this sense of infinity, like the Asians have. Asians have infinity. Chinese can go to like 100 different cities and settle in Hong Kong, Singapore, Beijing, whatever he wants to settle in, because there's infrastructure there, where there's roadblocks and impediments for Black people to move around from one place to the other. We can't just get on a plane and go to Lagos, Nigeria, and hook up with plug in with networks and business stuff like that. The infrastructure is not there. That's why these sort of platforms and building the relationships for the next generation is for. We're not going to be around when this all is said and done, but in the future, right, these future generations are going to have something, because we're talking about it and we're going to build, and people are coming, meeting us halfway in Africa and stuff like that, and say, yeah, let's build this thing, because only us is going to save us. Because I said the Black political system, trying to do something with a political system without any sort of infrastructure and any sort of end game, it's not going to do anything for us. Did anybody want to call in?
No, I was gonna go ahead and close it. I got master, so
okay, no problem.
We're gonna go ahead and close out.
All right, but yeah, we'll be back. Hopefully, we'll be back Wednesday night, brother.
Oh yeah, Wednesday night. We definitely rising up Wednesday night.
We definitely
we should be back on regular schedule. I don't. I head back to Nigeria March 17th. So
right, yeah.
We'll get it in before I go back.
Get a couple of shows in. Hopefully, I'm just putting my shit together so I can have my trip, too. But I'm working on it, folks.
Absolutely. So well, where can everybody reach you, Kala?
Okay, go to you can reach me at my social network site if you want to find a place. And kind of to what was going on, the controversy that went on this past week with a couple of our friends, my good friend O'Shea Dudaction and whatnot, and the other sister and everything like that. I want to say, if you want to come to a social network site where you see Black people working together and stuff like that, and I believe YouTube and everything is too vast. But if you want to come to a social network site where you actually see people working together with differences and stuff like that from Africa and America and stuff like that, talking about things, that you come to the Black African Infrastructure Social Network at Ning, or Ning, it's BAIO, African with a K, the number 5.ning.com, and that social network and everything that we're building, everything, I want that to be the one day to be, in a few years, to be the premium thing. I want it to be like Nairaland is for Nigerians,
right.
I want this to be the Ning. I've seen Ning sites with 1 million members.
Nairaland was started by like a kid.
Yeah, right. So I'm saying, look what it is now, man.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't. He's not a kid, but he was very young when he started that.
Right. Nairaland, And so, like I said, why can't we have that place? We cannot rely on Facebook
Right.
Twitter and everything. We need our own independent platforms, you know.
Right.
We need to play. Oh, it's worth the investment, I'm investing in it and stuff like that. So, like I said, I just need people to come in and just share, meet people. We got dynamic people in there, people that's plugged into the continent. You want to work in Angola? There's Angolan people there. You want to work in Kenya? There's Kenyan people there. You want to hook up with Ghanaian people? There's Ghanaian people there. There's
Right.
people that's on the ground doing stuff and everything like that. That's connecting. You want to work with people in your city and everything, your local chapters and everything like that. That is the place to do it. And like I said, you come into the social networking site, get acclimated with the people and everything, fellowship and everything, make numbers and make contacts. That's what it's there for. Share ideas, share content and everything, because definitely the people's there, and it definitely is growing. And stuff like that. So we got a couple of things, events coming up this year with our group, the BAL group that I'm head of. And everything. We got a couple of things coming up on that that I'm going to announce soon and everything. So like I said, just come in and just fellowship with the people and everything like that. If you want to talk to Pan-Africanists and Black nationalists and people who believe in repatriation and building infrastructure and science and business, all kinds of stuff. Share with your knowledge, share with other people and everything. Let's just get it going. That's all it is. Right. Fellowship. That's all. Fellowship is so important. We underestimate fellowship. Everything should not be about debating and arguing. We have to fellowship.
Right.
We have to share, and just basically be together. We are people. When you're people, you're not going to always like everything everybody does, but you basically have to be, be willing to fellowship with each other. That's what we're going to do.
Hey, Colin, give me the link real quick for the.
It's www.baio African, AFRIKAN, the number 5.ning.com.
Cool. Yeah, everybody. So what we'll do, we'll go ahead and close out. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you go to dynastymirror.com. Until next time, family, Dynasty Mirror, search for Huru. We'll be back on Wednesday.
Wednesday night.
We're going to rise up again Wednesday night.
Peace. We're going to rise up.
Peace.
We're going to rise up. Peace.